when a government sees a certain tribe rising, they find a way of making sure they don't rise.
It sounds like there's one tribe in power. They circumcise because your tribe doesn't circumcise. They're using propaganda and money from the United States and demonizing their political opposition.
Exactly.
You're listening to The Brendon Marotta Show.
In this episode, I talked to Mjinga, a journalist who is working to end circumcision in Kenya. This is an in-depth look at what the issue of circumcision actually looks like in African countries like Kenya. As someone who's researched circumcision for a long time, there were still things I learned from Jay's perspective. So if you are interested in understanding the nuances of that issue in Africa, this is a must-listen to episode. Audio is a little spotty at some points in this episode because we are having a call all the way from Kenya to where I live in Texas. But Jay's perspective on how circumcision intersects with local tribal politics and powerful foreign interests is well worth listening to. Now, here is Jay. For the people in my audience who don't know who you are, what's your name and where are you in the world right now?
My name is Jay Mjinga, from Kenya.
And you were about to tell me, go ahead. I think we have a little bit of a delay.
From Kenya, Africa. I know most of you know where Kenya is, where Barack Obama came from, the US president. So that's where I come from, in a place, a village called Kisumu. And most basically, where I come from, circumcision is viewed in two different terms: the religious part of it, and then the tribe part of it. So the religious part of it, most people that get circumcised here are Muslims. The tribal part of it is there are certain tribes that circumcise, while others do FGM, like circumcision of female and male at the same time, while others only carry out the male circumcision. So a tribe I come from is a tribe that does not support circumcision because it is not our culture. But the government rolled out a program of male circumcision that was in around 2010 there, where every person, despite of your religion, despite of your culture, was to be circumcised because of some ideology. I don't know who brought about that idea that when you're circumcised, you have lower risk of getting HIV/AIDS and cervical cancer. So the campaign was very intense. The people were paid money. They went to villages where people do not circumcise. Case in point, my tribe, I'm a Luo. So if you look at the history of Luo, we actually don't circumcise. But at this point, more people from my tribe have been circumcised because of the agenda the government put in place, that if you get circumcised, you won't get HIV/AIDS. And this was given a fact because where I come from, HIV is prevalent. So many people have HIV from where I come from. So that was the target audience. That's why it was very easier to coerce people from my tribe to take up a culture they don't believe in, just because of the government policy, the propaganda, campaign, and also there's some things that people are being given. Like if you get circumcised, your family will be given something, maybe sponsorship, education. So you find that most people in the village couldn't question much, but they forced their kids to be circumcised. And I was one of them at that time that was taken for that circumcision. Actually, I was the top 100 people that were first circumcised when the program was initiated by the government of Kenya from my village. And the experience was really antagonizing, like, something you don't know, something you've never thought of in your life. Someone just comes and then they tell you, you know what, you're supposed to do this. So I vividly remember that day, some people came with a car. We were about 20 boys. We were put in that van, and then they drove us to a certain dispensary. There was a hospital that was carrying out free male circumcision under the government and under USAID. I don't know, you know USAID, the program?
Yes, I've heard of it.
Yes, it was the one sponsoring that program. So when we were taken there for the circumcision, we reached there, they talked to us about HIV/AIDS. So you see, the other thing was about, they asked us, do you have a girlfriend? Do you know what cervical cancer is? Do you know that if you're not circumcised, you carry a high risk of giving the person who loves cancer? And also if you are not circumcised, you can get HIV/AIDS because that time your foreskin is still, very sensitive. So when you engage in sex, you'll definitely have HIV/AIDS if you're not circumcised. So those were some of the small, things they talked about while you were there waiting for our turns. Then from there, one by one, we were called, taken to a room, given some injections. 10 minutes, I experienced the most pain I've never felt in my entire life. I think when that medicine the medicine they injected us had gotten finished, I was in extreme pain. I was there, I could see everything. From there, they took us back home, all of us to our different villages where we came from. But I can tell you, for the next 2 weeks, it was terrible. You wake up in the morning, you find that your entire penis is stuck on some piece of cloth, the blood. Right? So you wake up in the morning, you try to go and urinate, it is so painful. It was so painful for throughout something like 3 good weeks. We couldn't go to school, we were just home. Maybe the only thing we were taking was some painkillers, a little bit of that. And then we went for another checkup so that when the government brought in such kind of an assumption, you find that most youths that were circumcised, when they got healed, they started practicing unsafe sex because now they felt that, they're invisible, because the government says, when you circumcise, 99%, you not get HIV/AIDS if you're circumcised. So this, if you look at, if you do the research of where I come from the time people were circumcised now, you will find that there's an increase of infection. It has increased. STDs, STIs, and unwanted pregnancies, because people are now engaging in sex because they know we are now circumcised, we are safe. That was very misleading because, in the village, no one has the information, no one has that internet whereby they can question something, So people just took it blindly out of that, engaging into different types of sex and everything, like without the fear, without any control, without anything. So when I went to school and I kind of got exposed to the internet and other stuff, I started reading, a lot of stuff. I started reading and getting more information and asking myself, because I was comparing Muslim countries. You find Muslim countries that carry out circumcision, yes? You find that they have higher rate of HIV/AIDS, you see. So I started comparing, how comes that such and such a country, for example, Senegal, is a country that has more Muslims, or even Sudan. Sudan has more Muslims. But if you look at the index, HIV index, you find that Sudan has high infection rates. So I started comparing this, and then also went back to where I come from. And I found that when I went and looked at the data there, I found that there was an increase in HIV. So I was surprised. I was like, how can the government mislead its own people by giving them an information that is not true, yet deep down in their heart, they know that this is so misleading. So I started engaging, I was so curious. I started asking a lot of questions. And then we came to election. In Kenya, after every 5 years, you have elections. And then again, this election, it was again speared throughout circumcision again. My tribe. You see, there's a tribe that is governing us now. We call it the Kikuyu tribe. It's the one that the president comes from there. So you find that there are people, there's a nickname they call people from our side who are not circumcised. They believe like that, like they call it kipi, meaning they cannot think, like their brain is small because they're not circumcised. You see that narrative, the tribalistic narrative that they've pushed. So I started talking to people from there, a lot of them, and they were feeling there's this inferiority complex that was in them, that this certain tribe, they feel they are up there in the leadership ranks because they're circumcised, they're the special one. And then this other tribe is not special because they are Kipi means somebody who is stupid. Culture, they believe for you to become a man, you must be circumcised.
We had a little bit of a connection breakup
on a lot of them.
We had a little bit of a connection breakup on that word. Can you say what that word is again that they use for this, or that they believe around people who are
They
not
categorize.
circumcised?
They call it kipi. You get it? Kipi. So
Got it.
during political intensity, like during this election time, they use that propaganda a lot. So you find people forcefully circumcised on the streets. If you check out on the PEV, post-election violence in Kenya, you'll find that over 1,000 people were forcefully circumcised by another tribe. They get you on the street. Can you see now how they're landmarking? They get you on the street, they ask you your name, they undress you, they check your penis. If they find that you're not circumcised, they conclude you're not from their tribe, you see. So you find people here circumcised for very many reasons, so that they can be safe from political instability, so that they cannot feel marginalized, and then also the government propaganda about HIV and then cervical cancer. So you find those are the three main strong points that if I talk to most of the people I talk to, those are the things that you get to know, that the reason why most of them are being circumcised, despite the fact that it is supposed to be a cultural thing. Like, not all cultures actually circumcise in Africa. There are those that don't. But now in Kenya, I don't know why in Kenya now you find that people, whether you're which tribe, whether you're a Muslim or not a Muslim, people just go and get circumcised because it is even free of charge in the hospitals, you see. So they know you're not going to spend any money. It is free. There's some things you're going to get. Maybe your child can get sponsorship to go and study, you see, from the village. So they're using all those things to make you, you know. Then they also pass the propaganda. They have these people, they call them bloggers. They'll be like, why girls love Kenyan men that are circumcised. You see such kind of headlines. So if you are a man and you read such kind of headlines and you're dating a girl who loves somebody circumcised, you start feeling inferior, you know. So you'll be like, maybe I should impress her and let me go and circumcise. Here, even people circumcise, 40-year-old, you find a 40-year-old man has gone to circumcise, you see. So it's something that is mind controlling, like someone just wakes up in the morning and you feel that pressure, all the pressure is coming. This tribe is calling you this name, this government is telling you this, that one. So you find that most people here, actually, the age groups are being circumcised around 18 years, 19 years, 20. Even 50-year-olds, you find them, they are volunteers. You know, want to have with them, you're not even circumcised, what do you mean? You're still a young boy. You know, maybe if you want us to be in a relationship, show me that you're a man, you see. So you find that some men, like, because, you know, love and all that, because maybe they're eagerly in love with that person, he finds himself that he just decides and offers and goes and gets circumcised. So that's the major, huge problem that you're having here. You know, the lack of information. So when I met, when one time I posted on Facebook about why circumcision is not something that we should be encouraging, you know, as a government. If they're talking about hygiene, a government should build more like boreholes and everything to give us water so that, you know, people can have that hygiene thing instead of having a false propaganda that is even killing more people. So when I started that campaign, I really got a lot of backlash, actually. I'm always having in and out. I'm always out of court. Recently, I had a case that I was out on bond, that I'm spreading propaganda, you know, against the government. You see, the government doesn't want you to do something that they're supporting. Like, if they're supporting this and you're against it, they give you names. They term you propagandist, you know, such type of thing. So
I want to make sure I understand that.
I'm facing.
So you're saying that they will actually take you to court for, according to them, spreading proper
anti-government, because it's a huge thing. I don't know whether the government is getting some money from it, but it's a huge campaign. If you check, you'll find that over 100,000 youths were circumcised. You see, so it's something huge that the government has a plan. They have a target, actually. They have a target. So if they feel you're threatening that, and then they see how active, because me, I used to go to the villages, you see, And then when you talk, people start, what's going on? You see that type of thing. It creates people eyebrows and all that. So it's crazy that when America put emphasis on Kenya to stop FGM, actually it stopped. Right now, if you circumcise a woman, you can get life imprisonment or 20 years in jail, or you can pay around $20,000 a fine. So when the government has enforced that, actually it became very successful. It is very rare to find women, unless privately they get circumcised, but then it is if it's a huge case. And even celebrities, you see, they put in a lot of money into it, and FGM has been controlled in my country. It's very rare to find that women are being circumcised, you see. But then it's funny that the government is doing the opposite when it comes to the male part of it, the MGM. It is again supporting MGM, but fighting FGM. So it is an imbalance, you see. So men are supposed to be circumcised, but the women, they're having very strong laws, you see. So in Kenya, about male circumcision, they don't even have, some people can circumcise traditionally with razor blades, no anesthesia, nothing, you see. There are no laws protect that. And if you look at the about circumcision, I posted it. I have a Facebook page called Stop the Cut. I'll give you the link. I'll show you the news where 3 kids died. They died because of bleeding. They did this law called circumcision where they use razor blades. So they overbled and died, you see. But it was just the news. It was just like a by the way. They didn't care much. Those people are not even arrested. Actually, they just came. You know what happened? What they did, they just came and again started sensitizing them. They told them, you know what? Instead of doing this traditional circumcision, we are going to open a dispensary so that the boys can have safe circumcision there. You see, now that's the support they gave them. They did not even arrest the people who are involved. They did not do something, anything, which means that another person can still do it, you see, because there are no laws to govern that. But if it was FGM, those people would have been looked for everywhere, would be arrested. Even jail for a lot of years. You see, when you check my wall, you post about it. Most of the people, they just take it as a joke, like it's not serious to them because they feel, that is what you're supposed to do. So it's a hard struggle, but I do believe sometimes when people are talking about something, it is good because at least now people even post, my Facebook friends, they post those memes, you see. Circumcision, those jokes, but a good thing. So whether it is bad publicity or good publicity, but at this point, at this stage, I can say when it comes to my campaign, I can say I'm now on the stage of exposure and creating an awareness where people now at least they're talking about it. Some are even opening up in my inbox, even the girls. They're saying, you know what? I enjoy sex with the man who is not circumcised more than the man who is circumcised. You see now that conversation, which I'm now liking it, because even the women, though they cannot come out, but they can text me and tell me that, the truth is, I have a guy, I have a girl now, this lady is saying that the husband is circumcised, and she has a side guy who is not. And when he compares the sex, she enjoys more sex from the guy who is not circumcised. You see, there's this lady she has 2 guys, actually, 2 boyfriends. The husband is circumcised, and then he has a side guy who is not circumcised. And she tells me that she enjoys this guy who is not circumcised. She enjoys his sex as compared to this other guy who is circumcised, which to me is true because at least I have experienced both sides. Like the time I was not circumcised and the time I'm now circumcised. You see, at least I am in the position to differentiate my sex life when before I was circumcised and now when I'm circumcised, you see. So you find that practically speaking, before I was circumcised, sex was different. It had feelings. You could feel it like, yes, this is something you're feeling. And now when I'm now that I'm this phase that I'm now going through, where I'm circumcised, you feel a little bit of numbness. There's that, the numbness, there's the feeling. The feeling is not that intense the way it used to. It feels like I don't know, like you're going in the same thing forever. It doesn't feel new. You see, that's how I feel it. And when they say that, I understand what her point of view is, because you see, when they circumcise you, there's a thousand nerve cells they mess up. You see, like when they remove the foreskin, there are thousands and thousands of nerve cells they're messing us with. I know sex is about the nerve cells, and when those nerve cells are missing, of course something is going to be missing from you. You see, it's like you're now trying. It's like the physical sex when you're circumcised is the feeling you're getting from the visual part of it, but not the feeling you're getting from the touch or the sensitivity part of it, you see. So I understood their point, and they were like, and most of them are coming out. Actually, there's a group where there's a certain group you find where women come, or where women can talk about their secrets, you see. Now my account, my account, if you see, it's discussing sex life. There's sex life. You see, and all of them, I swear, like I'm not just saying, 90% the sex life is good with someone who's not circumcised. I can say that, then it means that this circumcision, there's something it messes up, If somebody can reason, you find a grown-up person reasoning with you. If you out-reason them, they tell you, I cannot talk with someone who is not circumcised. Like, it means that when these people are circumcised, there's something that gets out of their, sometimes their reasoning depends on, discussion with somebody without mentioning the word, you're not circumcised, there's nothing you're telling me, you see. So basically, that's most of the challenges that I've been facing. And that's mostly what I can say about now. So I don't know if maybe you can have more questions. Hello?
I do. I turned my video off, or I set my video off for a moment because I thought it might improve the connection. This is interesting, and I want to make sure that I get all of it. You mentioned that when you were young, they basically took you and a whole group of kids and brought you to a US circumcision clinic. How old were you when that happened?
I was let's say I was a teenager. I was joining high school. I was done with my primary education, and that's when I'd finished my national examination during that holiday when you're supposed to join high school. So during that time is when at first the first weeks they came with cars, whereby they had these microphones. They were talking about circumcision, the benefits. That's the whole week. They're just there. They had crusades where people could go and gather there in the villages. They put movies for Jesus. Those things that entice people. Entertainment. They even had musicians who could perform there. Talking about circumcision. So it could attract, at least if you are a youth, you're a teenager. Obviously you'll follow the caravan. Follow them up to where they're going. So after that 1 week of information, the next week, they could come village to village, door by door. They register the names of boys that are there, that are not the boys. They registered our names. After registering, they gave us some numbers. They said the following week, they'll be coming to collect you from your homes so that you can be taken to the hospital, So that is how the whole thing went. And now when they came, you see, so she just accepted. Plus, they also promised if you agree to circumcision, they'll educate your child which they didn't do. You see now the problem here. they told us they'll sponsor us our education, which they never even did that. They never did that.
So hold on. What
if
were
if you try to,
what were the promises or bribes that they offered, and then you said they didn't follow through on them, or what was the story there?
The promises. The number one promise was they'll take us because we were joining Form 1 high school. They'll educate us for free education. They'll buy us books. The only thing they did at that particular time, sugar, salt, and tea leaves. Those are the things I saw when they were giving her. And the time they were also circumcising us, when we were seated there, each of us gave us soda, Coca-Cola, or bottle each before the circumcision, and bread. So those are the incentives they gave us that I can say. The promises, education, mainly it was education, because they know, you see, that's the weakest part of everyone, They know you cannot afford this, it's expensive, so let's tell them something that they like, because in the village, most people want to take their kids to high school, but they cannot because it's expensive. So when you come with such an idea and people like it, obviously your parents will be like, you know what, my son, you see, we are poor, we have no money. This is an option for you to go to study. You wanted to be a doctor, so this is a good opportunity. Just go get circumcised, you see. So you also feel like, let me just go and save my parents the burden. So that's mainly. And then another part that I forgot to tell you that is very important. With the traditional circumcision, there's this person that circumcises. You see, the kids are around 10, 11, 12, 13 years. That's when they circumcise them. And there's a law. They're circumcising you without that injection that makes the pain go away with it, and whatever the name is. They don't use that. They use razor blade. If you catch the hand of that person who is circumcising you, your family owes that person 2 cows. You see? So you're supposed to stand strong. You are not even supposed to bite your teeth. You see, they are drumming. Like it's like if you watch these movies, there's that drumming, and they have painted you, that type of thing. If you've read The Lord of the Flies, if you read that novel, Lord of the Flies, you can get the idea. They're drumming, they are doing what? They have painted like this, like it's like you're going to war, preparing for something that is not there. So when the people are drumming, you're supposed to stand. Actually, they circumcise you along the river. You're supposed to stand firm. You're not supposed to look at the person. You're supposed to look straight, singing, war drums are there. But if you do a mistake and touch the hands of that person, automatically your family owes them 2 cows, you see. And then also after circumcision, there's a party. And all the youths that have been circumcised at that time, people collect money. Actually, that money, you're supposed to use it as your pocket money when you're joining high school. You now get the idea. So any person that is joining high school must have the money that the family will collect at the party, because people will come. You'll walk. All of you that have been circumcised will wear. There's something, they'll give you a certain thing, a sack of clothes. You'll tie yourself with it. You'll walk in a line with a bowl where people will be giving you money, as an appreciation, something like that. And when people give you money, you'll be, that is now yours. When you're joining school, high school, you can use it as your pocket money. And now when you go to school and you have money, everyone will know, he's circumcised. So that is the traditional part of it. That's why it is so hard to let these people know that you're not supposed to do this. And then if you're not circumcised, you can also be banished if you refuse. There are people I know in their villages, they refuse circumcision. They were banished, they have no village. Village, they hold them by force and take them for circumcision that I know, that I talk to, from those tribes that circumcise. So it's a huge thing here. It's very, very huge.
I was pausing for a moment to let the connection catch up. It sounds like there's a whole series of social pressures around the circumcision itself, that it's not just that they're saying this is a good thing to do, but also we'll give you this free stuff, and your status as a man is somehow connected to it, and there's social things, and that there's a huge system around it.
True.
You also said that when you were sharing information that circumcision was harmful and not something that people should do, there were accusations from the government that you were spreading propaganda against them. And I want to know more about that, because in America we have free speech laws that make it so that you're allowed to criticize the government, but I don't know what the situation is in Kenya around that. So how does one get reported for that? What are the laws there? And then how does that work?
You see here we have a system of governance that starts from the chief down. So if you want to do anything, you have to get a paper clearance that, you know what, want to move around, talk to people, this and that. So the Gathering Act, whereby you have to get a documentation to allow you to do that. So when I went to the chief and I got, they gave me, but I didn't tell them the gathering was about anti-circumcision, because I knew they wouldn't give me if I told them that. So when I was spreading my information to these villagers, showing them even to the ones who have gone to school, because I had my phone, my smartphone, showing them some of the things they should, question about circumcision, even showing them the indexes about HIV, So I brought it into, I joined my circumcision with HIV so that maybe they could think I'm educating them on safe sex, you see. But through the safe sex, I interconnected it with my anti-circumcision, which caught in a bad way. It's not good for you to circumcise, because if you circumcise, it is this and this. It is something that I'm like saying, what the government is doing for you people here is bad. You're supposed to go against it, you see. So they took it as a rebellion type of thing. Yeah, and I told them, you know what, this 21st century, people have freedom, people have things they can say, people, I can say this, I can say that. Why are you stopping? That caught me off guard. He told me orders from above. When someone says orders from above, then it means phone calls were made somewhere, So when they told me a court order where someone brought that I was summoned to appear in the court to answer to questions of illegal activities. Actually, that's what they said, illegal activities. So I asked myself, I was surprised, like, what do they mean by illegal activities? I'm not a rebel, there's nothing that I'm doing, So I went for my case. I had someone, lawyer pro bono, a friend of mine, was there, who was there at the court when I was summoned. He stood up for me, he talked, he reasoned with them, he told them this and that, things have changed, blah, blah, blah. And then the judge, the judge that was on my case, Corona, COVID, there's illegal gatherings and this. Then the law was like, if there's illegal gatherings, how comes politicians are moving? Because actually at this point we are having campaigns. Next year we're having a general election. Politicians are moving throughout the country, you see, with a lot of people. Why is it that mine is going to increase Corona? You see, it's such a reason like that, because first of all, I wasn't even having a gathering. I was actually moving door to door, you see, talking to people that I could find, going to schools, you see. So it was just something to make to make you fear, to make you not talk about something. They feel if you talk about this, you're going to make people not to do this. Because come to think of it, when I'm doing my own other research, I find that the foreskin that they take from us is being used in other countries to manufacture other things. I'm just coming to understand that right now after doing my reading and also talking with other people, that this foreskin is again very important in another country, for their research. Like us in our countries, we don't have a lot of doctors who will even carry out any research. You see, we depend mostly, basically, in overseas, America, UK, whatever they say is what we depend on. So I saw why the government was so strong on this, because if you look at the entire Kenya right now, to be honest, I am the only person who is campaigning against it. You see, I even got a huge following by people, some bloggers, even inboxed me, like, you know what, that type of thing. So you wonder, if there's freedom of expression, freedom of speech, why is it so hard for government to hear out people who are contradicting or contradicting idea about the things they're trying to implement? I was given bail the other day. Actually, I even posted a picture there on my wall. I don't know if I'll send you the pictures when I was in court, whereby I was released $200 bond, and that's small stuff. Maybe my accounts. Actually, this is now my 7th account. They keep reporting my account. You see, Facebook, 30 days ban. Those bans. You post something, a friend. When you post something, maybe Facebook doesn't even know about what you're posting, but someone who's against it reports whatever you've posted, highlighting Facebook, making now Facebook to monitor me so strongly. You see, so when I write this circumcision, I get monitored. Now this is actually my 7th account. The others were given 60 days ban, another one, just someone hacked another one, it disappeared. So it's hard, but I'm not giving up. I'm not ready to give up. No one knew there would be same-sex marriages, some things like that. No one knew that one time, people will come out and say, what, I'm gay, without being judged. It's a step. And when they one time maybe that, what, you're getting HIV/AIDS because the government lied to you, because that is how I tell them. You know what? You're having the virus because the government lied to you that when you're circumcised, you can now have sex the way you want. You see, now you see you have an infection. Do you know why you have it? Because you're circumcised under the pretext that if you're circumcised, you will not get it. But you see, you now have it. You see, and now that is what is hurting the government when I tell them the truth like that. Which is the truth. It's not a lie. It is the truth.
It sounds like also that one of the ways that they are trying to silence you is bureaucracy. So you are only allowed to have a public gathering if you get a permit, and they'll just deny the permit if they don't like what you're gathering for. I'm also curious what sort how this issue has changed with COVID and the coronavirus in your country, because it sounds like that is also something that they're using to prevent people from having public gatherings. And I know that has expanded the power of the medical system in my country, but I'm curious if it's done something similar in yours, or what the impact there has been on this issue.
The government, because of Corona, they're having ideas. You see, if they feel there's a revolution, like when Corona came, we were taken on a total lockdown without a procedure. We had America is on total lockdown. At least your country gave you, stimulus checks and all that. As we were just told, from today onwards, not going to work, work online. You see, 3, no gatherings. 4, public means we're supposed to carry 4 people in a vehicle that carries 14. They also said you have to wear masks in public places if you are. Then they closed worshiping, all forms of places that could bring people together. They closed that. And curfew, they put a curfew whereby you're supposed to be in your house by 6 in the evening. And just like that, nothing, no money, not like they didn't even know how people are going to survive, how people are going to eat. They just copied. You see the problem we have in Africa. We love to copy things from the Western world, yet you people, you have done your research, you've tried out and seen how this can work or this cannot work. You even studied the implications. What if we put these people on curfew? If you put Americans, will they go crazy and have a revolution? You see, and what have we put in place instead in case they have when people are now, you see the mind, there's a way you cannot log people through all the time, there's that stress levels. When the stress levels are high, obviously people are they're going to wake up and just go to the streets. You see, that is something I'm very, very sure your government has studied and they know what they'll do if such a thing happens. In my country, no studies. We just copy things. We just copy. America has put a total lockdown. Kenya, lockdown too.
I can say that the American...
No savings, no loans, banks...
I can say that the American system is far less effective than what Americans present to the rest of the world. And if you think that we know what we're doing, then the propaganda has been effective, because from the perspective of an American, very often our government still doesn't know what it's doing.
Yeah, then first you have Africa and talk about circumcision. They'll listen to you. Actually, they will give you an ear. We have that superiority complex. It's huge. They will believe you if you came and told them this is bad. If you told them this vaccine is good, it will work on you, they'll believe it. You see, the white man said it will work. Yes, it is good. The government, we come from different tropical zones. You see, someone who is a scientist can say a vaccine that could work in America, if you look at the protein system, or let's just look at the DNA and everything. You see, with vaccines, it's all about the DNA and everything. If you have to compare the two zones, America and Africa, we are different, real. You see, that's when an American will come to Kenya and die of malaria. Me, I'll get malaria and survive, you see. So it's all about the DNA. How do you get a vaccine from another country? Actually, we have imported. They have also started that campaign. I also have a picture I posted. We are being given the vaccine free of charge. At first, it was around $300 to be vaccinated. Right now, I don't know where the vaccine. I don't know which country has given us the vaccine. It is now free of charge. Getting vaccinated free of charge. You see, they have not even done any experiments. You don't even know whether that country wishes you good. You see, like they just give you things. We are a trial ground for developed countries. More so when it comes with circumcision, vaccines, this drug that make women not get pregnant. What are they called? These pills. A lot of women are complaining. They can no longer have babies even after taking off those things. The ones they inject them, I don't know.
Well,
some have become sterilized.
That was something I was going to ask. Sorry, we had that connection delay again. That was something I was going to ask, is what the relationship is between American companies and the American government and the local Kenyan government. Is that, how do they work together, or what is the relationship there? And I'm curious, when people are doing things like circumcisions for these programs in Kenya, are there locals carrying it out, or are there Americans and foreigners carrying it out? What's the relationship?
What you see, America is always they'll educate medical doctors, the local people. You see what they try to do in Afghanistan, whereby they go train local soldiers so that the local people can at least have their own government. You see that type of approach. So that's the same thing they do here in Africa. They work with the local doctors, nurses. They take them for training, sponsored training. Then they bring them back. And then it is them to talk to you. You see, if someone talks to you in your local language, you feel like, okay, we are getting what they're saying. So if you reach there in the hospital, you'll find the people doing that actually the people you know, people you are with from the villages. They were taken for training, and even the people who are walking around spreading the gospel about circumcision, they first have to go through training by the Americans first. So after being trained what to say, and after passing that training, they get paid too. Because you see, there's no jobs. If you tell a youth, you go spread propaganda, we'll pay you monthly. They will happily take that job, you see? And besides, they know, hey, I'm working with the Mzungu. We call them Mzungu. Mzungu means a white person. Hey, I'm working with the Mzungu. You see that feeling? They feel proud. They feel they are working under USAID, you see NGO, yes, they call it NGOs. So they feel good about it. They'll do it. Even for some small money, they'll do it. But Americans, they do. You won't find them in our hospitals that they're the ones circumcising. No, it's the local people we know. You find a neighbor. You don't even know. You didn't even know they were studying nursing or anything. You see? So you'll be surprised that your neighbor is a nurse in a certain hospital. So that's what they do. They educate the locals, but also the ones who have gone to school. After doing that, then you, the locals, are now the ones who are now to deal with it. With the locals now, the ones where you come from. That's their job is just to put in money. You see, they have, America has money. They'll pump money in your government, and Kenya and America, our relationship is very strong. We have a huge relationship, and since Africa is also going back to China, America now has to put a lot of, effort to show, has to put a lot of money. So it's a political war. China, Kenya, US, you see, they're fighting for the same thing, the control of Africa. So America, they have to come with, there are also other things, China comes with this, America comes with this, the strongest one. And, with English, it's easier to learn than Chinese. So obviously, America will win. So that's how they do. But you will not see them being there that they're circumcising. You won't see them.
Is there a way that the American people in my audience could help people like you who are trying to end circumcision in your country?
There are ways. For example, it might be a vulnerable approach, but that is what Africa is used to. Africa is used to vulnerability. Like if you want to help Africa, you go where it's most vulnerable, you see. For example, here is a case. A guy is coming to tell you, circumcise. They're giving you blankets, the things you need. Then there's me, who is coming with no insensitive. I'm just coming with internet and my phone and information. Who will they buy? Between me and the other guy, don't you think they'll listen to the other guy more, even though he's telling them lies? You see, they want something tangible, because we even have people have built their own NGOs in my village. You see, the one that supports circumcision. You find they have their people where people can go, their libraries there, the internet. You see the things they're providing. So you find that these people are stuck between the thing that will help us and the thing that will not. You see, so it mostly, like, I started this campaign. I was like, for me to be, maybe the support base could be a tangible place. Let me say I've rescued 3 people. They have come to stay there. Because there's a lady who's doing a very good work. He rescues girls that have been raped. Do you know that now he's getting sponsorship from America because of that? Americans are joining hands, with rights and all that. Americans are now joining hands they're helping her. They even built for her a rescue center where she takes anyone that has been raped, you see, the young girls, whatever, she takes them and puts them there, you see. Now her name is all over. People now trust her. If she says this, they trust her because she's offering a solution. Now here's me. I have four people that I told you that ran from the village. They can no longer go back there because when they go there, they will be forcefully circumcised, you see. The only thing I can offer them is maybe to stay at my place for some time, you see, which is not a long-lasting solution. What about food? You know, they'll have to eat. So when someone sees that he's suffering like that, he might decide and say, why should I suffer it out of my village? But when you offer somebody help, whereby has a place whereby they can always come and stay, you see, you know what? If they're forcing you to circumcise, you don't have to. You see, when you save 4 people, they'll spread the news also. This guy saved us. It was like this. They will make sure their kids will never be circumcised. If that is what they pass through, you see, they will make sure their kids will never be circumcised because they are not answerable anymore to their tribe. They can now survive. Now imagine you get those people, you educate them, you teach them more things. You see, that kind of unity. It becomes serious. Because when I post on Facebook, some people don't believe, you know. But now when I told them that I'm having an interview, I saw a lot of, you know, people say, I always believed in you. You see, that association of small success. People want to associate with you when they see success in something. So you see the comments, I always believed, I told you continue doing this. Even the person who has never talked to you, see. So success is attractive. Our campaign is working, and at least there's a progress. They all want to associate themselves with it. You'll even find some people even start volunteering because they feel like their life has changed. You know, because I know computer, you see, I can teach them how to work online. You see, give them a new approach to life. They now look like they're indebted to me in another way, which will make them feel like, you know what, I also need to step up our game and also tell other people from where I come from that you don't need to circumcise. You see, they'll make sure the people say something. That's the point. There's always a catch, or there's always a price to something. So at the moment, the money I use, because no one is sponsoring me at the moment, because I'm just using I work online, I write articles. I'm an article writer. So sometimes I write product reviews, I get paid. So when I get paid, I know this money is going to help with my court cases. When I get paid, I know when I say, because right now I told you the 4 guys. Sometimes I have to go see them, get them some things to eat, you know. So it's just like that, small, but it will grow. That's what I believe in. But it's hard for Africa to believe in you when they're not seeing any successful thing. That's the problem. They want blankets. I was thinking if you could donate computers so that they can get information. You see, information is very good. You see, people do things because they lack the information. If they have internet, if they can spare time, have a place, they can WhatsApp, internet, computer, tell them these videos on YouTube. Right now, someone cannot watch YouTube because they'll open the YouTube and the bundles, because we use bundles. At least for me, I can say I have Wi-Fi. Someone will think, should I buy bundles or I should buy food? You see those questions. So if they have a place they can go, internet surf and all that, they will see, they will spread the news, you know.
It sounds like part of the challenge that you're facing is social proof and infrastructure. So the people who
exactly.
Well, I was going to say, it sounds like one of the challenges that you face is that the people who are trying to push circumcision have lots of resources they can offer, and the people and communities that are trying to resist that often need those resources and aren't going to be able to resist unless they have the ability to do that. And it sounds like you may need to build an organization or network of some kind in order to give them that support.
Yes, because even I have my ancestral land. My dad, when he died, he left me my piece of land, and I've always told myself that this land I want to dedicate it to circumcision, anti-circumcision. Like I had a dream of, building a shelter home that has computers, internet, and a library where people in my village they would come and have access to it. And make sure that I put a huge name there about anti-circumcision, because that is my piece of, it's my private land. It's there. That's my land. So that's the dream that I really have as of now, to create something that is dependable. And then the good thing is the next, according to the political arrangement as per now, the person who is going to be the president next, things are going to change. Government is not going to, you see the problem, the person who is the president right now is from the other tribe that circumcises, you see. So the next, according to the way I'm seeing the politics, the way it is going, someone from my tribe is going to be the president. And maybe the laws will reduce, and maybe I'll be able to build my place, make it an anti-circumcision center, whereby people can come there, get material, I know people, there are a lot of materials about circumcision that someone can, can donate. Then the most important thing, the most important thing is computers. Once you open a computer center in a village, it will be the one of its kind, because the one that is there is not sort of a computer, but it's sort of a, you find people who will talk to you, that is boring. The YouTube, go through whatever they're watching, you can put some things, about circumcision. There's a way you can set up your computers to have those adverts. You see, the dangers of circumcision. You see, that's the project that I'm really eyeing, that if I could get a sponsorship, or if I could get someone who is willing to, because the piece of land is there. Because here in Kenya, land is the biggest problem. Land is very expensive. My dad left me land. I'm the firstborn, the only child. I have my piece of land that no one can never get hold of it. It's mine. So I told myself, I'll build that center there. Put for them a computer center with free. Everyone loves free internet. I don't think there's everyone in the world have free internet. So if you put that and you find people, the youth will come. You see, you'll go there and talk to them. It's a good meeting point to me, according to me, that I'm seeing. Because now that is your private place. No one will come and say, why are you spreading this? That is your home, You're free to, like, right now. I don't think if someone can come here and tell me, why am I with you? You see, this is my place. I pay for it. It's my house where I live. You see? So that is my biggest plan, so that the next generation will not be circumcised under with the, funny things, sugar. Like sugar, if you look at sugar, the one they gave us is like $1. Let me see, exchange rate. Yeah, $1. 1 kg, that's around $1. American dollars. Someone gives you $1 for an exchange of something they'll get out of you forever.
I think if you held a crowdfunding campaign for setting up such a center in Kenya, that there'd be a lot of foreign activists who would be interested in supporting you.
Yeah, actually, I'd started one from, the certain crowdsourcing? I don't know. Yeah, I think they call it crowdsourcing, something like that. But it hasn't picked up yet, because the amount that is there is around, I think, $46. I haven't even removed them. But it's easier. You see, people have a view. You see, like, people trust you more than they trust us. So even if I created that personally, from my end, that's what I was saying. It is much easier for someone from that side to do it for me than me to do it from this side. Because someone who's just had a fellow Kenyan will just see the campaign and go and, share it and talk bad about it. You see, that kind of negative energy. And then also someone from your side, same, there are a lot of people from this side who go, they pretend they're helping to feed children. Those things that happen. Someone creates a GoFundMe from Africa, but he's just funding his own life, not even helping the people they claim they are helping. So and then the Nigerians and their you see, there's this country called Nigeria. They've really spoiled everything. Like, everyone knows a black person is from Nigeria. They're conmen. So it's hard to get funding.
I'm surprised that the Nigerian scam emails are actually coming from Nigeria. I'd always assumed that they were made up by people from all over the world, but I didn't realize that stereotype extended specifically to people who were actually from Nigeria.
Do you know the saddest part of it? They have now come to Kenya. They are staying in Kenya. Those are conmen, the Nigerian conmen. Do you know why? Because internet is accessible in Kenya. So most of them actually stay in Kenya. The ones who send people those emails, I'm a prince, whatever. Some even use love. They find a woman on the internet, they fall in love, yet they just want to, eat their money and all that. So sometime back, even PayPal is actually, when I started my writing, I had to get paid through PayPal. So you find that PayPal used to limit my account most of the time. They're like, well, where's this money coming from? You see, they have that negative attitude about Africa. They just feel this money maybe is not coming from right sources or money laundering, you see. So you'll find that a client pays me, I have to tell the client, you know what, it's better you write to PayPal and tell them this money you sent to me is money that you're paying for my work. You see, that's how PayPal will again release my money. You see. So Africa, Nigerians spoiled the entire Africa, for all of Africa, trust me. They spoiled everything. Right now, if you wanted genuine help, they'll think you're just some Nigerian who wants to swindle money. So it's very hard. But if someone believes in me from your side, who can even actually travel, because here they treat whites very well. If you came to Kenya, you will be treated like a god. I'm sorry to say that, So that's what I want, like someone, on holidays. Because I do know there are also people, the activists from your side who come to Mombasa, the beaches in Kenya for holidays, you see. So if such people can find time and then they come and pass by and see some project, they can come by and tour the place, not just for the holiday they have come to spend. They can also come, to the villages if they're activists, you see, and talk about, people will listen to them. Let them not just come to Kenya for the holiday, for those beautiful beaches in Mombasa or wherever, but they can also use that time to connect with me so that we can move around with them, so that people can see, yes, this is serious. He has some people, you see. But if they see me moving alone, no one wants to follow someone walking alone, So that could also help. It's not all about the money, because, okay, someone can give you the money, but you don't have a plan. You see, it will not work. A plan is important before even that money. That's why I told myself that land, that's the plan that I have. Next, you see, at least come and see. It will be your happiness to know that in Africa, as activists, we have our thing going on. I don't want it to be mine. I want it to do us it will make more sense if it is that way. But even if you collected the money, then you just leave it for me. You see, I'll still be overwhelmed, It will be overwhelming. But if the support is different, not just the money, but you people coming through like an active, we're a huge group. Because I always see if someone posts something about circumcision, a lot of activists, people come on that comment and you see, you even don't know where they've come from. People are many, a lot of activists that are in this campaign. But what we need to do is have a base also, spread your wings, not only in America. Let's spread your wings because in Africa, Kenya, Uganda, spread your wings there. And you'll see, you'll have something for yourself. You say, you have your computers, updated ones, let's donate this to that place. You see it there, that's how it's better that way. That's how I would say it.
Well, I think after this, you'll find it a lot easier to connect with activists from around the world. Is there anything that I haven't asked you about that you wanted to talk about, or anything that you still want to cover before we finish the interview?
I wanted to ask how in your country, the campaign, how is it going? Like, if you're to measure success when you started, maybe the challenges, I know maybe you had a few challenges, but if you compare whatever I've told you and viewers from your side, how is it going?
Mixed. So in America, there is a greater access to information. People, basically everyone here has internet access, and not just internet access, but they are on the internet all the time, every day. The advantage of that is that you can spread information and look up anything you want very easily. And the disadvantage is that everyone is constantly inundated with information, and it's very easy to get lost in the noise. And so I think there is definitely greater awareness of the issue, and there is a incredibly strong movement of people who are not just choosing to keep their kids intact, but also things like home birth, natural birth, peaceful parenting. But the challenge is that what very often happens is that people go into their own subcultures, or not actual tribes, but like intellectual groups. And so you'll have some people for whom all the information they get comes from one perspective, and that's the only perspective they ever hear. And they're able to basically filter out anything that would change their mind or expose them to a different perspective. And so the challenge, the other challenge that we have here is that America is huge. And each state in America is comparable to another small country. So when you ask, like, how's it going here, it's like the situation in Chicago is totally different than what it is where I live, and Austin, Texas is totally different than the way things are on each of the coasts. So it's a little different everywhere. And there's some places where it's going really well, and some where it really hasn't changed much. But that's kind of an overview. So I'd have to give you more detail if you had any specific piece of it you were curious about.
That's it. But it's like, because what I've through my discussions, what I've realized from your side is you circumcise babies, right?
That's the commonality in America, yes.
Because here, mostly the Muslims, they circumcise babies. All other tribes, they circumcise at age 11, 12, 13, 14 there. So that's the age group mostly. The one they do, with the babies here, it's a personal choice, actually. But mostly the Muslims, I see after 8 days, when you give birth after 8 days, the boy is supposed to be circumcised, But with other tribes, you are circumcised when you're around 11 years, 12 years, 13, 14 there. So at least that gives you a chance, because at least a 12-year-old can say no or yes, you see. But a baby is now the parent to have right for my baby. Because at the end of the day, you see now, like these days people identify as, you wake up one day, sir, one time your boy identifies as a girl and you already circumcised him. Don't you think that will be FGM to him? Like if you had to reason it that way, you see?
I've heard people talk about that as a possibility, that trans people or transgender people will perceive or will have a case that the genital cutting that was done to them has a new layer of being wrong or potentially illegal.
So at least you like I'm seeing from your side, it's going to be a success because people are now believing that people love to identify with something when they grow. You see, and even parents are now seeing that kids, when they grow up, they won't be the way they were. They will identify with. So if you people check that approach from that perspective, it's going to be a success. Despite the fact that some people are so conservative, those people, there are some people that you can never change their minds. But when they realize that it's not about them, it's about the kids. You see, kids are just, this generation is just crazy. Like, we think the same at some point. The way I'm seeing this generation, the way it is going, it's going to be very different from the other generation, whereby people believe this. You see, a child will say, I don't want to go to school. There's nothing you'll do about it. You see? So if you have to look at development from your country, human rights, you see, if people put this as a human, because your country loves to talk about human rights so much, they will maybe think about it and see it as a point of another form of human rights. You see, that you are not supposed to do this. Okay, it is your right, but what about their right? You see,
that's the argument that many activists are making.
Yes. So if they all think through that, then it will be a success. Though now, from my point of view, from my side, it's going to be an uphill climb. But the good thing is I have removed the other part, the shame part of it. See, that actually most people in my country, they have that shame. You see, I am not circumcised. You see, that shame. Because when I started, I used to feel like, now if I post about circumcision, all these girls are going to think that I'm just there, I'm not circumcised. You see. But I told myself, whatever, I don't care about that. I removed that part. That's the hardest part to remove from them. If I can find a way to remove that shame, okay, it's good whether you're circumcised or not. It's done. That's the only part. The shame, Once people love themselves, they are that shame, it will be good. Here, someone will rather accept that he's gay than accepting that he's not circumcised. Yet you see, gays are treated worse than even people are circumcised, but they will rather say, you know what, I'm gay, instead of saying I'm not circumcised. Now that is how strong that thing is. Wow. They'll rather say that. For real. If you tell one man, okay, they put two girls there, two girls are standing there, then you're there, they say, I want to say in front of this girl that for you love men, you don't love girls. Or say, I am not circumcised. He will say that I love men. He won't say he's not circumcised.
Why is the social pressure that great?
And then there's also...
Why is the social pressure?
You see, it's because of the hygiene. There's the hygiene part of it also. They feel, okay, if you tell a girl you're not circumcised, for her, she'll start imagining how dirty your penis is. That's in her mind. She'll start imagining that, you see. And then you see people, Africans, are now opening up to kinky sex, Girls want to give men BJs, blowjobs, you see. So they'll start, they'll be like, I cannot give an uncircumcised man a blowjob, you see. So they'll start imagining a lot of things. But they'll start saying, you see, someone who is circumcised has a clean penis, you see. So, and any man, you see, any man who enters adolescence starts to, be clean, you see, starts, feeling, I have to shower, you see, that type of thing. So when a man feels he's not circumcised and he feels he started loving women also, he will just feel awkward, like, maybe I'm not clean, you see. So he wouldn't even want to be next to a woman, you see.
One of the things that I notice is that there's a game of telephone that's happening between what Americans say about this issue and then what reaches African countries, where if you listen to even people who are pro-circumcision in America, they won't say that you can never get HIV unless if you're circumcised. They'll say it reduces the percentage of HIV transmission by a certain amount. But it sounds like that when that information is given to local doctors and people who they're hiring to perform circumcisions, and then it's given to parents and young people who they're trying to circumcise, and then it reaches the general population. By the time it's been repeated that many times, it's gone from, oh, it reduces it by a certain percent, or it's better in some way, or all these sort of claims, to this like exaggerated version where you can never get any sexually transmitted disease if you're circumcised, and that the intact body is, horribly unhygienic, or there's something gross and wrong with it. And it almost gets exaggerated along that repetition.
It is true because, with the propaganda, people love adding something into something to make the message reach a certain group. You see, governments, they have a target audience sometimes in most campaigns. The target audience with this circumcision campaign, because obviously other tribes will circumcise because it is their culture. So they won't be forced to, you see, because they know when I reach such an age, I know we are supposed to be circumcised. Then the tribes that don't circumcise, they have to pass an agenda, because there's no day, with Africa is rooted deeply into their cultures. So there's no day you just wake up and go to another African sub-tribe and tell them, you know what, from today onwards, you're going to circumcise, without a proper reason that they're also seeing that it is true. People are losing their sons, mothers are losing to HIV. You see, a mother was buried, her firstborn, to HIV/AIDS. If you came to her and told her, you know what, circumcise your secondborn, he won't die of the virus. He will do it very fast, you see. So they identified a problem, came with a solution that is not true, which people bought to it. You see, even the people already infected were circumcising with hopes that it will reduce their infection, yet they're already infected. And the sad part of it, that when someone who is already infected circumcises, is also not going to practice safe sex. He's going to be spreading this virus, because they told them, if you remove the foreskin and you even infected, your transmission rate will also reduce, you see? So this person is no longer going to use condoms. He's going to have raw sex with everybody, increasing more and more infections, alienating such a tribe and making them, you see, governments when a government sees a certain tribe has potential of rising, they find a way of making sure, they don't rise. And, war, these days, modern war won't be about bombs, guns. War is going to be biological. It's going to be biology. People will send viruses, people will send diseases. That's how the modern war is going to be. And it is easier for war to be won through biology. Biological warfare is very easy. So if your country, because my tribe, we are the most educated. We value education. And the government is always scared when people are overly educated in more so African governments, you see, basic human rights. You start saying people should love whoever they want, you see. You start producing lawyers who will reason with the people you have arrested, the government has arrested. So that's what the government does to my people, because they know, despite all the alignment, despite all the things they've tried to do to us, what have saved us is education, because we cannot be employed. The government only employs people from their tribe. Because if you go to all the ministers, you find it from their people. For us, we have to be engineers to build people homes. We have to be electricians. You see, those odd jobs that other people don't want to do, those are the jobs we now have to go and study. You know, electrician, engineering, construction work, welding. That is, law. Because these other people, they know, even if you don't study, connection will give me a job. What about us? You have to study and study and study, so that if you don't get this, you do this. You find here, someone is a lawyer, but can construct a home. You see. So we have degrees and degrees and degrees. You see, like me, actually, I did journalism, but I dabble as an electrician. Sometimes I can do electrician. Also, right now, I want to go back to school to study construction and building. Because I want to build that place alone. I want to build. I don't want to be swindled. You see, because if you with construction here, it is business. People will, if you don't know, they'll swindle you. So next year, actually, I've registered. I'm joining school. I'm going for my degree, civil engineering. That's what I'm going to study, building and construction next year. So you see, so the government is so scared, like. They have to find a way, to make us look weak. Even though you study, you're not circumcised, you're nothing. You see now. Imagine you waste 10 years in school, you're reasoning with someone, then it brings us a point that your point is invalid because you're not circumcised. You see.
So I didn't realize.
It's painful. Actually, it's very painful.
I didn't realize how tribal Kenyan politics were. It sounds like there's one tribe in power. And
yes.
They circumcise, and people from your tribe are more educated and might come into power. So they're using propaganda and money from the United States to say that because your tribe doesn't circumcise, you're unhygienic or spreading HIV, and trying to make you look bad and essentially demonizing their political opposition to keep you out of power. While only hiring their people in government positions. They
make us look unsuccessful. There's that word. They make us look unsuccessful in whatever we do because one, you see this other tribe, when they want loans in banks, actually here, the bank, they won't give you a loan depending on your, past financial statements. Your name betrays you. Actually, if you Google the word, your name betrays you, it will bring you to Kenya. I'm being serious. Your name betrays you. The banks won't give you loans, but it will give the other tribe. So it has made them so successful in business. They are so rich and successful that it makes it feel like it's because of the things they do when they're circumcised. They feel that there's some spirits they evoke. But during circumcision, there are words they say. So the propaganda has it that those words have made them successful. Those chants, the things they chant, something like, I don't know, magic, something, so they feel. But if you look at it into a perspective, they're not rich because of the chants. They're rich because of the systemic, in your country, we call it systematic racism. Here we call it tribalistic racism, whereby they're the most who receive huge loans. I have my land. If I go to the bank so that they can build for me, they won't build for me because of my name. If another person from the other tribe has land, because that is what's happening here, people just take their land, they give the bank from the other tribe. The bank builds for them rentals. The bank takes money from them. Maybe the bank takes the upper building, then the lower building is theirs for maybe for 5 years. Then they leaves them with the entire building. Now it's theirs. You see, obviously they will be successful. Their kids will be successful. Their kids will have inheritance. What about us? Nothing. Right now, my land is worth a lot of money. If I'm to sell it, it's worth a lot of money, you see. But still, I cannot be given a loan. They cannot build for me anything there, you see. So that is what they have done, which is sad. It's very sad. So our parents have to use a lot of money to educate us, take us to school, only for you to end up doing other things. I cannot get a job in the radio. I can't. You see? Yet I studied journalism. I have a degree in mass communication, but I cannot do that. You see? Now what I do, I'm writing. I have my own, I'm a freelance writer. You see? We find our way out with no support, which is sad.
So this is interesting because I think the picture that most Americans have who are aware of this, or aware that the United States is putting a lot of money towards African circumcision campaigns, is that this is something that Americans are forcing on the local population, or basically bullying them with money. But it sounds like that there are local groups who are using that money and that propaganda to further their own local politics. And that
exactly,
that's a very different picture.
It's true. That's why in Kenya, every election, we have war. Every election, even this one, we're even scared because right now, the support is drumming for the one from the inferior tribe. And the other tribe is scared, their businesses, you see. So this is the time people are going to start disappearing. If you're supporting this other, people are going to start disappearing. People are going to be intimidated. It's going to be a tough one. You know, it's really going to be a tough one, but I'm seeing change. The way I'm seeing this time is going to be valid change. You know, it's for the good, because the other tribe, since independent, is the same tribe that has been ruling since independent. We got independent in 1963. Can you imagine, without change of guard, 1963 of alienation, whereby your people have been alienated. Your people cannot be employed. The military is headed by the other side. During post-election, they send policemen, they send soldiers who wear policeman uniform to put you, you know, so that you cannot to threaten you see, so that when these people steal elections, there's nothing you can do. And when you try to do something, they send their local people, or the people, the people in uniform. They'll remove their clothes and they pretend they're locals. They'll ask your name. They'll forcefully circumcise you, you know, if you're from the other tribe. They even say, they have their chance. They say, you know what? Let's show them that we have the blood of Mau Mau. Mau Mau was a rebel group that fought for independence. Let's show them our blood. You know, we have the blood of Mau Mau runs in us. They walk with knives, you know, they're protected. Then they'll come. I want you to Google, I want you to write, I'll send you a name. Google the word Mungiki. I'll send you on Messenger. Now that is a rebel group that the government uses during election time to intimidate other tribes. The rebel group's work is to kill, maim, circumcise. Those are the three things. Can't you see now how important that the circumcision is?
It sounds like these
circumcised.
It sounds like these forced circumcisions follow the pattern of hate crimes, that it's a dominant group.
If you followed the case of Kenya in ICC, actually there was a war crime case in Kenya. The main things there, actually circumcision was also there. If you'll get time and see, there was maiming, killing of a certain tribe, and forcefully circumcising. It was there among the cases. And I'll try and get for images of people who are circumcised on the streets forcefully. They remove your clothes, they circumcise, and even if they find you circumcised and then your ID reads another tribe, they'll re-circumcise you. They say that you are actually the sad part about it is if you are circumcised, for them they believe their circumcision is the best, the traditional one. You see, so it is useless, and that's the point I always try to tell them. You see, you're wasting time. You're circumcising to validate yourself to these people, and people are buying. Actually, when I started through that point, I found a lot of audience. They started agreeing. They're like, okay. Even on my posts, they're like, even some people, some tribe that there's a certain tribe also who practices that circumcision. They also say, even us we circumcised, but you don't take it as a big thing like this other tribe. Why is it that for them they feel that circumcision is so huge? I started finding such comments. I was like, okay. So let me take it. They want to be tribal. Now let me take it through that angle, you see. So that is how insane the circumcision is insane like that. Only in Kenya, because other African countries haven't had a huge, like, it's here that I see, I don't know, but politicians, they know how to study the dynamics. They know. So when they study people, they know, okay, let's use circumcision as an agenda. And that's what they're using. I think in other discussions, I'll be taking screenshots and I'll send you. You'll find someone saying, I cannot talk with someone who's uncircumcised.
Wow. The political elements of this are really fascinating and not something that I think most Americans are aware of. It almost sounds like the best thing that could happen for this issue would be a change of power in terms of who's in power in the government, but there'd be all sorts of secondary things that might change also, things that are far beyond this issue.
True. And I'm seeing a wave. The good thing is the presidency, the way I'm seeing right now, this generation is starting. You see, the problem is the other generation, we had older people were more than the younger. Because the younger generation died, HIV, a lot of diseases, depression because of lack of work. So you find that the Kenya right now is still comprising of the other older generation that is so tribal. So you find, but you find now, like I personally have not married from my tribe, you see, which is now good. So when you intermarry, at least the kids, when they grow up, they have different perspectives, you see. They'll start viewing things differently. So intermarriage, like unlike in the past, was hard. From my tribe to marry, you see the other tribe, they call themselves royalty. They have the blood of royalty, blood of leadership. It's like a peasant marrying the daughter of a king. It was hard. But now things are changing. People are trying to view things because they're seeing that this tribe is rising up despite the challenges, which is attractive to the females from the others. Now they are men. The men from the other side, they now have their small beef with the men from this side. Because their women are now loving the men from this side. You see, when you're civilized, there's a way you behave. The way you treat women is different. See, for them, they treat their women as a property because they're stuck into culture. From my tribe, we treat our women differently, you see. Like we value them in a different perspective. There's a way we treat them. So the other side is finding this side again more attractive, the women. So most of the women are now getting married.
That's interesting.
And that is why
go ahead.
And that is why there's also going to be a change of power. Now you see the opposition, the person who's in the opposition. The son is married to the daughter of the president of this side. So this thing is bringing friendship. Now you see, they're somehow listening because of this marriage. So this person wants to support this person, the one in government, because this is his last time. He cannot stand up again next time. So because it is his last time, his favorite again is from the lower tribe, his favorite, because the son is married to his daughter. You see, so he wants the power to remain there, which to me I see, okay, it's bad, but again, it's a small win, which is good, because I know people change. Power is corrupt. This person will get power and be like, my people have been mistreated for so many years. It's time now they enjoy the benefits. You see, if he's going to be making choices, he will make rules and laws and choices that will at least try to be neutral. Because he's a good guy, by the way. He supports gays. He supports human rights. He fought for multi-partyism. He fought for freedom of media. Because in the past, there was only one television channel. Through him, we have different stations. That one, everyone knows about that. He's the one who has fought for all that. But he has suffered, he has been jailed, he can never give birth, his balls, like, he really suffered. You see, that's how evil the regime was. So things will change, I'm positive things will really change.
You know, it sounds like that some of the propaganda around intact men being unhygienic or like telling women that they should never be with a man who still has that part of his body, it sounds like some of that might also be a way of preventing interracial marriage, because it sounds like the people from tribes and groups that are intact are also more educated. They have different attitudes towards women. And so saying that they're somehow dirty or bad is a way of keeping those women in the tribe that is dominant and in power.
What I'll answer you on that is, you see, the dirtiness came from, when you're marginalized, basic things you don't get, like water. You see, you find the government does not build boreholes for you.
Wow.
You see, but when you get exposed, you start earning money. You come from the village, you live in towns, you have running water. You become clean. You meet a girl from the other tribe. She's surprised. Okay, so you men can be clean from your tribe. You are not circumcised. They start having a different perspective. It is different when that lady gets someone from the village who has never come to the town, lacks water, lacks soap, you see.
So some of the stereotype or propaganda might be playing into the fact that people from those tribes are being denied basic necessities like water.
Basic need, exactly, yes. Like water, you find that you have to wake up in the morning before you go to school, walk a long distance for some river to fetch water. You see, at what time will you even shower? You see? So you find, and then also their parents were killed by the other regime. So you find that a boy who the father is supposed to teach you how to wash your private part is not there. Your mother cannot tell you that, you see. Like personally, my mother couldn't tell me, you know what, may I learn to wash my penis through a friend, a fellow guy that I used to go to the river to shower, and I see how he used to wash his penis, you know, the way he retracts his foreskin and washes. That's how I learned, you see. You don't have that father figure who could train you and tell you know what, this is how you're supposed to wash. You see, like girls, you see girls and their mothers. Their mothers teach them how they're supposed to wash themselves at a younger age. You see, when they go to shower with their mothers, which to us is different. You're not showering with your father, you'll never know how to do it. You'll never know. So when you grow up to such challenges and you learn these things when you're grown, and maybe you learn when you've made a mistake, maybe you learn when you've met a girl from the other challenges that made that impossible. At least right now, people have internet. You can come to town, like right now, I came from the village to the town, have my shower there, have my water there, you see. You see, so the hygiene part is dying. That propaganda is now dying, you see. And it is hurting them that the hygiene part of it, the other tribe now, you see, they if they can text me and say, you know what, I enjoy sex with men from your tribe, you see. It means they are having more sex with men from my tribe, which was impossible in the past, but now it is. So now what they're doing, they're making sure for you not to marry from their tribe again. They're making these things, this called dowry, the bride price. They're putting it so high. You see, someone will tell you, I want 100 cows. I want $50,000 if you want my daughter. You see, so they try to make it so, you know, a lot of money so they don't take their daughters. But you see, with women, when a woman loves somebody, they don't care. They'll come stay with you, have a baby with them, and then what will you do? You will forget about it, and they'll fight their life, have that simple wedding, and that's it. So this new generation is, you know, they're learning things, and they're cutting boundaries and forgetting that tribal, you know. But it's their men, their men have refused to change. Even the boys, when they go to that circumcision, I hear the things they tell them, you see. So the problem now is with the men, but the women are cooperating, but the men from that tribe, they're so tribalistic, and they view other people as a nobody, which is very different from their women. Their women are so cooperative. I think even more educated than them, the way I see, because most of them are drunkards. They don't value education because they know, my father is rich, has land, my father has houses, they'll live for me. You see, here in Africa, inheritance is about a boy. If you have a child, whether the daughter is the firstborn and the son is the lastborn, all inheritance goes to the boy, you see. So there's also that laziness in them, you know. They spend all day drinking, not educating themselves. The women are developing, the women are going to school, the women are becoming more because they have to look for their own wealth. They have to create their own wealth, you see. So you find that they've been left behind, and that is also hurting them. You see, most of the women are eloping with these other people because they feel that these people are you know, they're hardworking. Because there's no way you'll wait for your father to die to inherit the, because you'll be there, you'll have no money. You'll wait for them to die so that they give you the wealth. And that thing has sent them into depression. Imagine sitting there waiting for a 70-year-old or 50-year-old man to die, and he's not dying. So you become depressed.
It's really interesting to learn how this issue of circumcision and genital cutting intersects with so many other things around tribe and social demographics and gender. And that's something that those of us who are in the United States looking from the outside aren't aware of, but it sounds like you've noticed and put some thought into.
Yeah. Like they don't have when America looks at Africa, actually America doesn't look at Kenya. America looks at Africa. You see, that's right. The problem. They feel Africa is one continent with the same thing. But you'd be surprised that my country alone has 42 tribes. You see, yet that is just one country out of the entire Africa. And each of these 42 tribes have their own beliefs. So if you if you try to view Africa as Africa and view it as view each country, it will be easier to have an agenda passed easily. You don't just pass an agenda and say Africa. It won't work. Most will fail. But if you target a country, because right now you see, my country is the target place. I don't know why they always target anything that they want to roll out in Africa. They start with Kenya, trying ground, When it's successful here, you'll hear next Uganda, you see, Tanzania. So that's how they do. They started with now the vaccine. Actually, they have given us free coronavirus vaccine. Kenya is being vaccinated now. Kenyans are being vaccinated. They'll want to see how it goes. From there, you'll hear South Africa, Rwanda, Burundi, Uganda, Tanzania. So it's just trial and error like that. But what they don't know, when they make such policies, are going to America, you see. However much America will build walls, will do what? Human beings will always find a way of entering anywhere. They will always be, you see. People will always come. And that is going to be a hard thing for all other countries. When you destabilize a country, it destabilizes your own country too. You see, that's the problem. But when you bring policies and try to make them work in places that they're not used to, it is very dangerous to the local people who are not educated, because they're the ones who always will take things the way they come. Here with vaccines, you will find that the villagers, people in the village, they will be the highest vaccinated as compared to people who have information. Some in town, the conversation is going, no, I'm not going to take the vaccine. A lot of people in towns are saying, ask them why, they'll give you valid points. One, because this and this and that. But in the village, they have an idea. They'll just go, they'll get injected. You see, very, very important. Like if someone has information, he has power. And if my village where I come from can be given that, set up a computer room, a building where people can go there, browse the internet, get more information, have such conversation. Now like you see the way we were talking, have a big screen there and let them all be there, for them seeing themselves there, talking to you, people like that. Trust me, it will be hard for them to accept any other thing other than the ones they are telling them. Because the people are even telling them these are people like us. You see, the people are telling them they're not hearing from the horse's mouth. They're hearing from the people like us who are being trained. Now imagine you people take this opportunity, and be the first hand information to them. Don't you think they will believe you more than they will believe people like me? See now what I'm saying?
Yeah, because the Americans add social proof and validation that what you're saying is true and educated and all of those things.
Exactly. So they will believe they more than that.
I have kind of a crazy question, which is, how much does money play a role in Kenyan politics? Because I know in America, political campaigns require huge donations. And I'm wondering what size a donation would make a difference in Kenyan elections. In other words, if there was a rich American who wanted to sponsor this potential new Kenyan leadership, like what amount of money would make a difference? Or is money even the deciding factor that would make a difference?
Now let me tell you one thing about Kenyan politics. When it comes to politics in Kenya, the people who are in power, they make sure they steal enough money and hide them so that they can bring them back when they want a MP somewhere or a governor somewhere. So you find that a governor, 5 years or 10 years, you see, but he's a governor, but is planning to be a president in the future. He makes sure that he has stolen enough money that he won't even need other people's money. See how rich those people are. And nobody, no one will listen to them. You see, that's again the problem. Like you find, let's say, I can say now I want to be an MP. I won't have the money, I won't have the resources. But let's say I have someone who is willing to put money on me so that I can have a vigorous campaign. There are a lot of things that you'll have used your money for, you'll have lost your money because we have systems. The system chooses here. We will elect, yes, we'll have a. You see, so it's a politics of who will support, who can we support so that they'll save the money we have stolen in the past. Who can we support that will protect the land that we stole in the past? So these rich politicians, they choose, even if they are retired, they will choose someone they are sure of that will protect their businesses. So even if you can have Soros, this rich guy who sponsors revolutions, George Soros. Even if you had just George Soros behind you with all the billions of money, but the system in Kenya feels threatened that when you come, you'll change things, they'll make sure you don't pass, even if you pass.
Got it. So if there was a Kenyan politician who'd been collecting money from the United States circumcision programs and putting it in his own pocket, and you come into power and say you're going to remove those programs or audit them, he's going to feel very threatened by that.
Very, very threatened. Actually, in Kenya, activists don't become, they have tried. There are a lot of activists that have tried to join politics because it is easier when you're when an activist and then you become a politician. Sometimes it's easier to put out your points out there, you see, when you're making laws. But all the activists with the support of the people who support them, all of them have failed. Because the government knows these are people who are against us. You see?
So it's almost easier to be an activist if you're not threatening the power of those who are in charge. They might give you some of your agenda as long as you promise not to. But you know, it's harder to be an activist and join politics in Kenya, even if you have a support base. Because most activists actually they have a huge, more so if you're against police brutality, which are facts. Right now, we have a lot of gays in Kenya. Imagine if you decided to become an MP right now, and you're supporting their agenda. They'll give you money. They'll vote you. They have money actually. They have a lot of money because we also have people who are secretly gays, but they have a lot of money. They'll sponsor you. They'll give you donations. But once you see government, they always have. They know where money comes. They know who has given you money. They know. Once they see, 50 gays have given this politician money. This guy wants to become an MP. It means that he's going to bring an agenda. You see, they just don't like agendas. They want the ones they have. If you come with an agenda, because you have to be in a political party to be something, you see. And those political parties, they have their own agendas, you see. And if you come with your own agenda that you want to join that political party with a new agenda, even the people who are there, they won't, they will feel threatened. They will even eliminate you if needs be. Here, they don't care. At least with America, what I love about your politics sometimes is there are a lot of murders that you kill an opponent. You see that type of thing. At least it's somehow, even if it's not free, even if it's not fair, but at least somehow there's a playing field. You are going to come. You're not going to campaign to your constituents by telling them, "I'm going to build roads," because roads are already there. You see, here in Africa it's different. I'm going to have the same agenda. You see, that's the saddest part. It's always the same agenda. Every political term is the same agenda. At least with the Western culture, I see every election, you have different agendas. We are voting someone who is going to remove our troops from Afghanistan. You see, here it's different. It's the same. We are going to build roads. I promise to build schools. You see, the youths, actually they always target the youths. I'm going to make sure you're employed. You see, so it's employment for the youth, or the youth are the ones who are the biggest, who have votes, and they're the ones who are active, they can move, you see. They are jobless. When I have a campaign, the place will be full because they are jobless. They're the people obviously are going to be addressing every day in a campaign. So they target the youths with those agendas. The same I always ask myself that, Africa, are we just cursed? Are we just stupid? Like naturally, for real, like sometimes I ask myself, how come that every election we have the same agenda? There's nothing new, like, okay, this time I'm going to make sure we protect your rights. I'm going to make sure there's total democracy. They don't pick that. There's no ideologies. We don't have, now that's the term I was looking for. Africa, we don't vote ideologies. We vote promises. I'll build roads. You see, I'll build you roads. I'll build schools. I'll give you free internet. I'll make sure you're employed. I'll sponsor your kids who have scored high marks to take them to the US, Germany, France for further education.
Such enticing things. You see? So you're just there asking yourself, why can't they come? Okay, this election, why can't somebody say equality? I'll make sure that your daughters that you have taken to school are going to be given equal pay. Why can't someone come with that? If you try to talk about that, the men will be like, okay, now they want the women to be on top of us. Let's eliminate him. You see, they are scared of ideology. The problem with Africa, if you have an ideology, they take you as a rebel. They view ideologies as a rebellion. Because in Africa, most ideologies end up in the forest. You see, the Mau Mau ideology, forest. Joseph Kony, forest. Congo, if you go to Congo, forest. So most ideologies, they don't end up in the forest because they want the guerrilla warfares. It's because the government tries to suppress them. You arrest them because of ideology. They fight back, and then it becomes total chaos. Anyone who has an ideology is a criminal in Africa. Criminal number one. You discover something, it's crazy.
It sounds like that change might happen in part because the potential leader or president from your tribe is someone who's representing a growing, better educated group of people that are moving up in society and now have greater representation or influence, not necessarily because of any ideology he has or different way of doing things.
Yes.
Is that accurate to say?
Like is not tribal, and but you know, with Africa, before presidents get into power, they are good. You know, they're so good. But they say power is corrupt. You know, they always say power is corrupt. It goes through your head. You know, if you've watched Games of Thrones, my favorite. You've watched Games of Thrones.
I'm familiar with the show.
You know, the Mad King. So power is corrupt. Power is very corrupt. You can have a nice person, is good, you know, he's a good guy, but he doesn't call the shots. He will win, but the problem about politics. We all have good ideas. Right now, even like if I became, right now, if someone told me, okay, if you become president, what will you do? I'll give you a million things I'll do if I become president. I become president. Will I do them? Maybe, maybe not. Everyone was positive when Barack Obama was elected. But to be honest, I know people fear to say this. He wasn't the best. Like a lot of blacks are in jail. For real. Like he never created reforms whereby we would say black men, you know, there's an increase in racism in America. He's going to bring changes. What did he do? He came to Africa, bombed Libya, destabilized Africa, his home place. You see, people are positive that now we have a black president, all the money is going to come back to develop Africa. But it didn't work like that. It doesn't work like that always. There's always a shadow government that is pushing agendas, you see. So that's why politics is it's difficult. He's a good guy, but you cannot be overly, you know, maybe you'll even be overwhelmed. You know, it's the first time. It's his first time, you know.
Is there anything else that you want to add before we finish up? Because we're coming up on our time here.
Just like the part about if the support. I know maybe you have the capacity, maybe to mobilize, which I don't have. Maybe if it will be possible to mobilize, maybe so that I could get the needed support so that to make it possible. Because most of the things I do right now, I do them out of my own pocket. And sometimes, you know, like now, like I have a family, sometimes it's really made it hard for us. Sometimes you put this money for this, you end up, you know, using it for a court case. So just that if you can get a group of maybe 10 guys who are interested in something tangible in Africa, let's say this school was built by you guys. Trust me, it leaves a mark forever.
Noted. Yeah.
This borehole was dug by these people. Trust me, people don't forget. Villagers, if you do for them something that is helpful, you've created a cattle dip where they can take their cattle for free, ticks and all that. A cattle dip, those things that are beneficial to them. Maybe electricity. They now have, you've connected maybe 10 homes, electricity. They'll talk about it forever. That's what I know about my people. They are grateful. They're not too demanding. That's why they're easy to manipulate. You see, when you're not too demanding, you're easy to manipulate. You don't hold your government to accountability. You have land, you don't know what to do with it very well. Because even if you use your land for agriculture, the government buys products from the other tribes. So you see, but if they can be told, you know what, you can do this and that. You can educate them to do this and that different thing. You see, you can spread the gospel indirectly. You see, you don't have to spread like now you go to them. You know what? Don't circumcision. My lecturer told me about PR, public relations. So I'm very good at that. There's a sub-course I did in mass communication PR, whereby someone takes something from you, but there's something they do, you feel they've done something huge, so that next time you feel when they want something else from you, you'll just, they'll just understand you because you did something, they'll feel indebted. So we are living in a world of PR, and that is the truth. And if you want to follow things straightforward, it won't work. It won't. It's a world of PR. Take 100 nets. Just say this week, Jay, I want you to take, how much is mosquito nets? Maybe it's $2, $3. Yes, actually one mosquito net is around $3. If someone has around $300, you buy mosquito nets for $300. Do you know that you'll have given over 1,000 people? You'll have given them mosquito nets and blanket. Actually, they love blanket and mosquito net. Campaign, the anti-circumcision campaign. They will appreciate that. Then you take pictures, how things go. Other people will also join. It's actually for it to be a big thing, and then also seminars, if there are, you actually, people can organize seminars, and then you invite some people from, I know it's hard, but at some point, these days people, there are a lot of seminars you can do, live seminars, or even,
We just had you, we just lost your connection and then you rejoined, it looked like.
I think it's lost.
But you were saying about seminars, and then that would be a potential tactic for reaching people.
Yeah, so the seminars, and we can also put other, invite other people. It can work like that, but let's not give up. Let's not give up. It will, like if we just stay focused, we keep talking the way we are, I keep spreading the message. These days around fear, post a lot about it on my wall. I even have a page that I created. So so maybe I don't know what you're thinking. Maybe you can tell me your approach, how you feel it will work best.
Well,
because according to me, that's how I feel it can work.
Yeah. I think the next step would be to share this interview to encourage people who are listening to find the links to your stuff in the show notes. And if they want to connect with you, connect there and go from there. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, that will.
Well, Jay, thank you for coming and sharing your perspective and your story. What are the best places for people to find you? Is the Facebook page? What's the name of it?
My Facebook page is Stop the Cut. I'll give you a link. Stop the Cut. That's where mostly you can find me. And then my Facebook too. J Mjinga. That's where I'm very active there. I'm very active on Facebook. So mostly that's where you can find me. Then also, if someone have notes they would love to send me to read, you can send to. Also have my email, because I love reading more about circumcision. You know, the internet is flooded with a lot, but sometimes if you've done your own research, maybe you're good at it, at least you can know which one is best for me to read, so that I can also pass the message. And also books. I know the books to do that. So mostly so, but Facebook generally, actually, the person who directed me to you, he found me through Facebook.
Cool.
So Facebook is the best point. Yeah, I didn't remember his name, but someone who told me about you then sent me even your link, and I actually looked for you. So Facebook, I'm very available there.
Sounds good.
Well, then also the link I told you, I created.
We're losing our connection, and I'm going to have to head out in a moment. But thank you for sharing everything. This has been extremely interesting, and I think everyone's going to have a much clearer perspective on what these campaigns look like in America and what they can do to support and help create change there.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to the Brendon Marotta Show. If you liked this episode, please share it with someone else who would also like it, and then go on whatever platform you listen to the show on and leave a positive review. If you want to support the show directly, go to brendonmarotta.com/show and subscribe there. Paid subscribers get special unreleased bonus material and live events that are only available to them. Once again, that is brendonmarotta.com/show. Thank you for listening, and I will talk to you all later.